How's it going, everyone? Today we have the new and upgraded After Hours Jack coming in from Jack Wolf Knives. Huge thank you to them for sending this in. I will have more information and links to the knife down in the description. Let us know what you're carrying in your pockets today down in the comments. Love seeing what you guys have for your EDC. So like I said, there will be links down in the description. There's several variations of this knife coming out along with an exclusive or two, so there won't be any shortage of variations. Now, this one is going to be the Fat Carbon Dark Matter Red, and there are several different finishes you're going to be able to get as well. You have a hand satin, a DLC, and the one you see before you is a belt satin. Now, this knife has underwent a couple of upgrades, and we're going to get to those in a minute, and that may be the deciding factor on whether you pick one up or not. We are looking at S90V for the blade steel, hollow ground, and this thing comes down nice and thin. It should slice forever. Look at all the sharpening life you'll get out of this thing because we have a beautifully done sharpening choil. As far as deployment, we're going to be looking at a fuller / long pull and a front flipper, and that takes us to our first change or first upgrade to the knife. The jimping is going to be different than in previous models. That way, you get a better grip on that front flipper, and I have to agree that this works very well. Not that the other stuff didn't, and that's what I was going to say, is Ben is taking a great knife and making it even better. That is the difference, right? The knife was great, and it's just even better now. So very good on the jimping side of things. Some companies still get that wrong. Some companies round over both sides, and it eliminates all the traction that you would have gotten otherwise. But in the case of this, it is going to just be very intuitive. No problem whatsoever. And then, of course, the long pull there, you'll be able to reverse flick that out all day and thumb flick this thing out all day as well. We are looking at the premium PVD coated bolsters here in titanium, and then they have been tumbled. So very good look, and it should be a nice durable coating. We have a matching backspacer and milled titanium clip, and that'll take us to our next upgrade. The pocket clip has actually been raised up in order to give more space under there and go into pants that have a little bit thicker seams, whether that's work pants or tactical pants. It is just going to fit better, and we will check that here in a moment and see what it looks like. And I have to say, I haven't had an issue with any of my other Jack Wolfs, but it can only be better that there's a little bit more space, and as long as the tension remains good, it doesn't really matter. Now, what I love about this is we are looking at the face of the knife here, and there's no chamfer to the lock bar, but that keeps the aesthetic of the knife really clean. And we roll this over, and you'll see that both sides internally have been chamfered out, and that's going to allow a lot of room to get your thumb in there to disengage that. No matter which way you come at it, whether it's from the side or from the face, you're going to be able to get in there very easily just because of the way it is designed in there. And that is a way to keep the show side completely clean. I would say an excellent job. Now, there's another change that you just can't see with your eyes, and that's because these are rocking upgraded bearings from the OEM. So from the last manual knife that Jack Wolf has put out, the bearings in the new After Hours Jacks are going to have the upgraded bearings. Now, what all does that consist of? I'm not 100% sure, but just better quality stuff. Now, let's get a measurement on this and see what kind of size we're looking at here. I would say 7 5/16 overall, 2 3/4 inches of cutting edge, and then 3 1/4 of total blade. And we'll bring out a couple of comparison knives, and this will show you that this knife here isn't really that small. It's going to be a very similar size to the full-size bug out and the drop bear. Now, if we bump it up a notch, you'll see the Militol full size and the full size Raccoon are going to both be quite a bit bigger than the After Hours Jack. Now, I just don't know how to feel about this. The Bionic Jack came out a couple of months ago and really made me question whether or not this would be my favorite. Because I always thought if I get my hands on the After Hours Jack, that'll for sure become my favorite Jack Wolf. And man, the Bionic Jack has really, I think, been a huge detriment to the After Hours Jack. I absolutely love this knife right here, the Bionic Jack. I love the handle. I love the clip point blade. It's a beautiful everyday carry knife, and that'll be a good example actually to show you the little bit different depth that the pocket clip will have, and not huge changes, just upgrades to make the knife better, right? Two completely different designs here, of course, and the Bionic Jack, I don't know if there's any of these still available, but if you want a solid looking EDC knife, gentleman's knife that has a traditional blend, oh man, I had a lot of family members drooling over this knife over the holidays. I carried it a ton. One of my favorite knives of 2024. Beautiful, beautiful execution from Jack Wolf. So the After Hours Jack, what is this going to look like in the pocket here? It should carry pretty deep because we are dealing with a single Torx. Retention is good over that initial ramp, and you'll see it's going to carry pretty deep in the pocket there, and it's going to look nice and clean as well. Another thing about milled clips is they look good, but they also feel good ergonomically just because they're a lot different than a standard pocket clip. So you're able to soften everything down, keep it flat, and it just really aids in comfortable ergonomics. There's enough to deal with on a folder, and eliminating that pocket clip, or at least eliminating it a little bit, makes a huge difference in the ergonomics. And the way this is designed, you'll be able to choke up right behind that edge. If you need some control, you're getting into something a little bit denser, you will be able to really choke up and have some control over this thing. And you'll be able to choke up right on top of that tip if you have more precise utility type cuts you need to do. And then you just have that beautiful straight edge for just regular standard cuts. Now, what kind of edge are we going to be looking at on the After Hours? I am expecting this to be a laser beam. Oh. And then, of course, we got that nice pokey tip. Very nice. Very, very nice. So somehow my scale turned on its own here. I almost forgot. We need to get a weight on this thing, and I think it might be a little deceiving. Let's say 3.3. Could be a little lower, though. Yep, it is. 2.7. Really? So, not too bad at all on the weight on this thing. Do we have any internal milling in there? I don't believe that we do. No, there's no internal milling in there. So, and that's still staying a nice low weight there. As far as a look around on this thing, our lockup is sitting pretty healthy there, about 45%. That's exactly what I want to see. Perfectly centered up there, and we don't have any detent lash, and there's no movement there around the pivot. Very good. We'll do a soft open here, and about where we was on a normal flick here. Yeah, very good. No movement in there. Keep in mind, this is a gentleman's light duty everyday cutter. This is not a cold steel with a triad lock, so we don't need this to, as long as the blade ain't just nonchalantly slipping off the lock there, it is going to be just fine, as long as you aren't a total moron. But otherwise, I have checked all my Jack Wolfs on or off camera, and I have not had a single issue with one of them. Very good fit and finish across the board. Exactly what you would expect out of this knife. And I was pondering, the upgrades to this knife, and maybe you don't have a Jack Wolf at all, or maybe you do, and you're wondering if you should pick this one up as well. Only you can answer that, but I can say, after all the iterations, all the different designs, you can just tell that, and just by the additions and upgrades, the bearings, the little bit different jimping, the better space between the pocket clip, Ben just continues to put more and more into each design to get the most out of it. So I think with this Jack Wolf, you're going to get the most polished Jack Wolf to date. With the new bearings and all the details that have went into the design stemming from all the previous designs, I think this will be the most polished, the most refined design yet. I do think, however, there are others that are close in comparison. And for me personally, and everyone will be different as to what they prefer, right? What kind of design, what kind of blade shape. This clip point blade here has done everything I have asked it to do without any issues. The only thing that, and depending on what it is, it doesn't have the low tip to do, like a real tip pointed utility cut, but there is enough tip there that you can still use it and do some of that sort of stuff. So I love this clip point blade. This is one of my favorite knives in my collection at this point, and I'll have to give it some time here with the after hours and see what happens. Great knife, great design. I think it probably is the most polished out of all of them, but boy, that Bionic Jack is groovy, I must say. You'll have to let me know, what do you think of the after hours Jack here, the design? Let me know how you feel about Jack Wolf, and is there a favorite design that Jack Wolf has done in the past that you wish you could get or that you're waiting to get? Love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. That helps push the video to more people. If you're new to my channel, I release daily knife and EDC content just like this. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. That'll notify you anytime I release new content. I'll put a couple of new videos up on your screen. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.